All right. Hey, Frederick County Pickleball. Joe Leonard here. Welcome to my basement. My basement today is in Richmond, Virginia. I just jumped on the highway for 3 hours to come see a really special guest, James Ignatowich. I know you're busy. You're going to leave here. You're going to head over to Virginia Beach and compete over there. And last week, you were at the wooden paddle
Yes, I was.
event, right? And not only were you there, but you guys took home silver?
Got to the finals. Yeah, I think the real reason that he is here is actually to see this 16 millimeter.
I am.
Picture.
You know, but I wanted to do a little bonding and rapport first.
He doesn't care about
James
me.
wants to get right to the
He
point.
doesn't care about me. He was like, look, I need this paddle. Everybody's been begging me for this paddle.
That's
so
true. That's true.
I tried to take this with me because I want to use it in Virginia Beach, and he's not letting me take it.
Oh, well, that is not true. I would absolutely give it up. I've been dying to get my hands on it. So I've been playing a blacked out version, which I've been enjoying for a week.
Yeah.
I just have seen this thing, and I'm like, begging Marwan and you to bring me one.
You got to stay on him. Marwan's my co-founder, and he's so busy. If he doesn't respond, you got to just
annoy
him.
No, you guys are busy. So look, if you don't know who James is, if you're living under a rock and you don't follow the tour, I'm going to do a quick bio. James Ignatowich, professional pickleball player based in Delray Beach, Florida. And actually, you're originally from Connecticut.
Darien. Well, I was born in New York City.
Okay.
And then, and my dad worked in New York City. And then we moved to Darien, Connecticut when I was 4 or 5 years old.
My wife has the same story.
Really?
Yeah, I said to her this morning, I was doing some research. I said, honey, James is from Connecticut. She goes, no way. Where? And I said, Darien. And she was from Ridgefield. So I looked it up, and you're like out on the coast, sort of close to the coast, and she's over just what sort of
Ridgefield's
west?
like 30 minutes away.
Yeah, west from there. And then she says, oh yeah, I can see that. Well, because you're New Englanders are a special breed, man. And I appreciate New Englanders, but you guys are a special breed.
Yep.
As Jill will attest to. And I've been married to her for 30 years, so couldn't be happier. Let's see, completed 76 professional tournaments, played in a total of 566 career matches, and has a win rate of 60%, currently plays for the Chicago Slice in MLP. Now, I don't know if any of that's current, but that's what I grabbed off the
That's right.
All right, cool. He's been working all day today. He just got done doing 8 hours of coaching here. We are at the Yellow Club in Richmond, Virginia, and thank you, Yellow Club, for letting me come in here and do this. So, as you know, I rep Diadem for 3 years, and I spent the last year with Yola. I told you that Yola drop kicked me to the curb in July. I hung on for a couple months, but because I wasn't a brick and mortar, they were done, even though we had done over 200 paddles last year. So I was flopping around looking for a new paddle, and I came across Zane's podcast. Where you and he were talking, and I said, I had to listen a little bit more because I'm like, James is doing paddles, and then I listened more, and because I'm thinking, what does James know about paddles? So then I listened, and you are a paddle geek now.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you anything about any paddle, so,
Right.
I've opened up every paddle with my bare hands.
Right.
That paddle, the Agassi paddle, I've opened up. I might have a particular carbon fiber splinter with an Agassi, part of the Agassi logo on it.
I watched one of your Instagrams where you were attacking it on a back deck, and I'm looking for a paddle, right? And once I saw James, I had like 5 on the list or 6, and I was contacting people, and I actually I'm like, I'm gonna try and get through to James, and I ended up contacting his dad. So I went for what is that, instant messaging off Facebook or whatever that is.
Yep.
And sure enough, I just hit all the James Ignatowiches, figuring that I could get somewhere. And his dad actually instant messaged me back and said, I forwarded your message to James.
Yep.
He'll get back to you. And sure enough, within like 5 minutes, James texted me and said, hey, my dad contacted me, and we started having a conversation. So the paddle is the RPM. Your company is RPM. revolutions per
That's right.
minute, right? I like that. I like that a lot. So let's talk about the paddle. I mean, I've been listening to it. You've been opening up paddles. You spent the last 4 to 6 months, more than that.
Yeah, I mean, for the last probably now 10 months, I've been fully dialed in on how do you make the best paddle, what goes into the paddle. So there's a couple different things about this paddle. I think one of the main things, and it's funny because you don't want to give up the secret sauce too much, but I think this is a key thing. You actually want a pretty low modulus carbon fiber, and you want the face sheets of that carbon fiber to be pretty thin. So this is the thing that people don't realize about dwell time. So they talk about dwell time, which is how much the paddle will pocket the ball.
Right.
So it's how long the ball will sink into the face.
Like a tennis racket.
Exactly. And so I'm sure you've probably felt this from your own experience. It's got a ton of dwell time.
Yeah.
And so the reason for that is partially is because we actually use a pretty thin face sheet carbon fiber. So people talk about Tory carbon fiber. They talk about, for example, there was a couple Selkirk paddles that I saw were like, 12K carbon fiber. This really super high grade, high modulus carbon fiber that has a ton of tensile strength. So one of the things about that is you can have that carbon fiber, and it's technically more of a durable carbon fiber, but in reality, nobody has ever, I think, had issues consistently with carbon fiber durability. The durability is just from the core.
Okay.
So the carbon fiber itself is not breaking.
Yeah.
So they say that to say you actually want like a T300 potentially carbon fiber. You want a carbon fiber that is, so basically for the record, T300, that's just how many individual strands of carbon fiber. Exactly, per square inch.
Okay.
So this is, I won't talk about what carbon fiber it is or where it's from, but it's thin and it's soft.
Yeah.
That's why you're going to get a lot of dwell time, and the carbon fiber is not going to break. So it's not like you need to worry about it.
Right. Now, when you guys, when you and John Q, man, that 2-hour thing you did with John Q was off the chain. I mean, I couldn't believe that you guys, I listened to every bit of it, and actually him and his partner there, they did a review, which I caught on the way down, which was a really, really good review. It was part of a bigger review of a bunch of paddles,
Yep.
but ours was in there, which I was really happy to hear. Boy, they were really happy with it.
And I'll just say this, sorry to cut you off, but one of the things that people talk about too, because I watched the review, and the other guy was saying that it was, because it's Gen 3,
right?
It's like, we don't love that. Well, Gen 3 actually plays better than Gen 4, and I think that's proven by, if you look at the top 50 players in the pro circuit.
Gen 4 being foam.
Yeah, so Gen 4 is all foam, so
right.
It's basically a slab of foam.
Right.
And technically that could be potentially more durable in the future. Right now, is it more durable?
Right.
We don't know. Look at the boomstick with Selkirk, the edge guard comes off.
Well, that's actually an interesting thing. I'm thinking, well, if he's coming out with a new paddle, why is he going polymer honeycomb? And it's because it's the proven thing that's working. It sounds like the foam isn't really perfected yet.
Not even close.
Right.
I mean, this is the best paddle. Well, how about this? If you take RPM out of it and you talk about other polypropylene honeycomb paddles like Yola.
Right.
So you look at the APP players that are not signed.
Right.
So then they have a choice, because you can't look at PPA players that are signed. So
Yeah.
we'll take them out of the equation, because I was using a Selkirk for 3 years.
Right.
Would I have ever chosen to use a Selkirk? No.
Right.
Obviously not. Nobody would. So here's the thing. You take this paddle and you say, okay, it's got honeycomb and it has foam around the edges and it has blocks of foam here, which is pretty similar to the Pro 4, but then there are some key differences like the thickness of the face sheets and whatnot. Okay, so if you look at that style of construction, which you'll find with the Yola Pro 4, you'll even find with some other paddles, for example.
Yeah.
Every single unsigned player that has a choice that's a pro uses either the Pro 4 or they're planning on using this.
Basically, and it made sense to me as I thought about it, that if I'm going to come out with a paddle and I'm going to have my first offering, I'm going to go with what works and what makes sense and what is fully developed. John said, that you're really dialed into what's going on in the paddle world, and it made sense to him that you came out with a Gen 3 paddle. Now, he was talking about a little bit of differences down here. I haven't seen the video of it, but in the X-ray, it sounds like you've got something more going on down in here.
And full foam paddles, for the record, as they currently stand, are all experiments.
Right.
It's an experimental thing. It's Gen 4 for a reason. It's the fourth generation. People are still figuring it out.
Yeah, I haven't even gotten into it. I haven't played one. Separating the core and on all the outside. I've seen them and I've heard them, but I'm totally in for this, man. Now, that's not to say that you and the team aren't working on, the future of a Gen 4 paddle, right?
Yeah, we're working on it. I mean, if there's ever a time where we decide that a Gen 4 paddle actually feels as good and has as much power as this paddle, then we'll do it. But there's not a single full foam paddle that has as much power as this paddle.
Right. I mean, so the wrap on this paddle is, and I agree, is it's playing just like the Pro 4, Yola Pro 4, and better.
A little more power.
It has more. It has a little bit more of everything. Yeah. So whatever the recipe is in here, it's got a little more power. It's got a little bit more dwell time, and what I really noticed was it's got a lot more spin.
Yep.
And the thing you said about the glue being the thing that causes the spin, that blew my head exploded when you said that, because, well, I'm not a paddle geek, but I know just enough to be dangerous. I always thought it was the T700 sheet that you were talking about, but you actually say that it's the glue that when you go through the process comes up through?
Yes. So this is a crazy thing.
That's crazy, man.
So if you feel the paddle, if you feel it, and this is for anybody at home, if you feel the pickleball paddle surface, what you're feeling, those little ridges and peaks and valleys that actually comprise what is known as grit, surface roughness, that is not a carbon fiber weave. And this is not just us, this is any paddle.
Yeah.
Any carbon fiber paddle, it's epoxy. And John Q has a great video about this. So the epoxy that you use matters a lot. And it's just a neglected thing. A lot of people don't really give it enough attention.
Anyway, I'm really excited to be repping RPM and representing James and his crew. Before I leave that, you got different shapes. So the shapes in the first release are the elongated 16, the elongated 14, which I hear is even more powerful than the 16, according to Q.
Q thinks that. I don't know.
I haven't hit it.
I think the 16 is more powerful.
Yeah, I've always been a 16. The 14 is interesting to me. And then you've got it in the standard shape in the 16 and 14. Actually, we call it a wide body. And it was also interesting to hear you say, because I train and coach a lot of beginners, early pickleball people, and you were asked, what paddle do you think is better for beginners?
Yep.
And you were full of conviction on it being the wide body.
I think so. I think the wide body is better for a few reasons for beginners. I actually think it teaches you the right technique in a way, because you don't get away with as much reaching. So the biggest mistake that people will make in the beginning, if you notice, if you watch some 3.5s or 3.0s play, is that they're reaching for shots and they're doing a lot of that stuff. Tougher to do with a wide body. So actually, I think the weakness of a wide body, which is that it has less reach, actually makes it better for beginners and it teaches them the proper way to play.
Wow, that's the first time I've heard you say that.
I've got a bunch of reasons.
Wow. That I mean, you're blowing my mind all the time. So I heard you say that with either Zane or Q, but I didn't hear you give me that explanation. I thought you were going to say it's just got a bigger sweet spot, like it's a bigger chalkboard for them.
It's got a bigger sweet spot too, and it's also quicker in the hand. So if you're, for example, like for a lot of women, like wide bodies better too because it feels lighter because of the swing weight. So you can have an 8-ounce wide body or an 8-ounce elongated. The 8-ounce wide body will feel lighter because there's just less weight toward the top because it's shorter. It's like a hammer, you take a hammer and you hold one side and swing it around. If the heavy part's up there, it's impossible.
Yeah.
You flip it and then it's super light. So.
Wow. All right. So we got the first release is the elongated shape in 16 and 14, and then we've got a wide body in 16 and 14. That's awesome. I've got one of each of those coming this week, and I ordered a bunch of paddles, so I'll have a pretty good inventory. And they're going fast. I should have ordered more because Marlon said,
I should have ordered more. It's crazy.
You have one for Virginia Beach?
I barely have enough. It's funny, we're super grateful for it, but we thought that 2,000 would be enough. And now we have another 1,000 coming in the next week. We've already sold out of half of that. So then we have another 1,000 coming the week after, and it's just a lot of paddles. We're super happy. We've done really well so far, but yeah, we should have ordered more paddles. Yeah,
well, in a way, it's great news because you want to be top 5. I want to be number 1, man. Let's be number 1, and I want to be your top guy, your top independent rep. All right, I won't keep you a lot longer. I know you've been working all day. Is the pickleball scientist a real dude, or are you guys just making that up?
So this is actually a good chance to shout him out. So go to Pickleball Science website if you have any interest in more of the real details. I mean, this guy is a genius. He helped us. I think he's currently doing some more testing for us. We always hook him up with free paddles. He's this guy. Me and him were like, we would nerd out about paddles all the time together because he lives 10 minutes from.
I was gonna say, is he in Delray?
He's in Deerfield Beach, so very close by.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's got a website called pickleballscience.org. And let me check. Let me make sure it's .org.
I'm sure we can find it. I just don't know when to believe you guys and when not to believe you, because we
mess around.
You're young guys, you're 24, 25 years old, and
No, you'll find it. So here it is, Pickleball Science. This is his website.
All right, cool.
And he talks about his last article is about paddle trampoline modes, which is an engineering concept talking about the dynamics of your pickleball paddle and how they contribute to speed, power, and accuracy. So
hey,
he's got all this
that's
stuff.
Awesome.
These are all his articles.
Fantastic.
Good guy.
Okay, so I'm an ambassador for Dill Dinkers. That's what's on here. Dill Dinkers, we have a nice private club, 7-court club. And I've had Dane Gingrich there. We've had Colin Johns there. I want to get you up there and do a clinic day, do a paddle release day, just similar to what you did here, if you've got time. I know you're super busy.
I don't know if I can compete with Colin. That guy's the best coach. That guy's my coach.
I tell you, I did an interview with Colin, and I was kind of blown away with how personable and warm he was. I don't really know what my expectation was, but
he gets a bad rap. He
does. And he's from Maryland, and so we kind of bonded a little bit there. But I really I couldn't speak more highly of Colin. So I'm really, really excited about this. Boy, I can't wait till this batch comes and I can bring him over to the club and down to MVP, which is our public courts, and let you guys hit these paddles. I couldn't be happier and more excited about starting up with RPM and being associated with James and his crew. Everything I've seen so far is just really impressive. Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you taking your time to do this, because I know you've been working all day. All right, so from Yellow Pickleball Club in Richmond, Joe Leonard and James Ignatowich, we will see you all on the courts. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, man.
Yep, perfect.